My home, Afghanistan, is a tragic beauty that lies in the heart of Asia. Destroyed, obliterated, and annihilated by war, the country was once surrounded by one of the highest mountains in the world. From the iridescent beauty of the colorful precious diamonds to the green plateau, snowy ridges, and haunting desert highlands, its Hindu Kush defines life. Till not long ago, I lost this very home. I became an immigrant. Today, I'll tell you all my story, which will hopefully become a voice for thousands of immigrants feeling detached from their origin and purpose of existence. Deposited in different parts of the world, Afghans can't find a home in the midst of a prolonged civil war within Afghanistan and a tragic fate waiting for them outside Afghanistan. This is the story of a homeless girl who was asked, "Why aren't you going back to Afghanistan?" In response, she would say, "I would if I could." That girl is standing right in front of you, sharing the infinite reasons why she can't go back to Afghanistan, and if she could, why she chose not to. For 35 years, Afghans have been a pawn in the global powers game. Just a pawn. We are denied survival, livelihoods, and rights. How on earth is that possible to live? As a result, Afghanistan is the second highest producer of immigrants in the world. But being an immigrant is not a choice. Not at all. Imagine your ears deafened by the bombs crossing your roof. Imagine losing your loved ones one after the other. Imagine risking your life for going to school or work. Imagine your sisters and mothers getting raped for the way they dress up. And imagine your children begging on the streets just to find food for the day. Would you still live in the same country? Of course not. The only choice left for you would be immigration. Put a heavy stone on heart and leave motherland. Leave everything behind and leave. This might be shocking for you, but this is the daily life of an Afghan. The number of deaths due to terrorism since 2007 is estimated to be 39,000, while the number of blasts are approximately 19,000. Most of the girls in Afghanistan get married by the age of 15 and have their first baby by the age of 16. Having one of the lowest literacy rates, only 31% of Afghans are literate. In addition to that, more than half of the population are living on less than $1 a day. But we still hope for peace, we hope for survival, and we hope for a better future in an unfamiliar foreign land. But look at the irony. In search for peace, we get the stigmatizing label, terrorists. As stated by Mr. Glenn Beck, an American conservative political commentator, 1, they're terrorists. 2, they're escaping the law. Or 3, they can't make a living in their own dirtbag country. In response to this, I would say, 1, you're wrong. I'm not a terrorist. 2, you're again wrong. I'm not escaping the law, I'm escaping the missile. But 3, you're right. I'm hungry. But my hunger is larger than food. It is larger than life, because my hunger is for peace. It is the hope of peace in that dirtbag country. The hope that I could return home, the hope of returning back home on my own 2 feet. The hope that one day I could walk freely outside my house and not risk my life in doing so. The hope that one night I do not wake up to the sound of missile above my head. The hope that I no longer lose my family members one by one. The hope that I get educated and live my dreams and help others live theirs. But do I have the right to dream when I'm an illegal alien creature of the world? I left Afghanistan physically. However, I daily breathe Afghanistan. I dream Afghanistan, and I carry Afghanistan in my mind, in my heart, and in my soul. I barely remember a second not feeling isolated and alienated in the past 1 year. Exactly 1 year ago, my family and I flew home to our new home, India. That was the first time I saw my whole family wailing together in the plane. Our eyes filled with tears and our hearts filled with pain, as if we were mourning on a dead body. Back then, I did not realize that the dead body I was mourning for was the dead part of me mourning for my country. It was shocking how in this gigantic world of 510.1 million kilometers square, there was no space left for us. 2 months ago, when I was preparing for this talk, I asked my father, "How do you define an immigrant?" He told me, I'm an immigrant, and I'm defined as an unwanted alien in a foreign land. And the only word which can describe me is poor. My dad, who used to work for 15 days a month, is currently working for 30 days a month, including Sundays, getting 1/4 of the salary he got back in Afghanistan. Every night he comes home with a sorrowful smile on his face. Just as he eats food, he falls to sleep from the labor of the day. No one who I can share my pain with, and no one who can help me in carrying the burden I shoulder. He went back to the day we stepped to India. People would ask us, who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing here? Why are you in our country? What are you going to do in the future? In response to all these questions, my dad prays every day and every night that there would come a day where we could go back home, a day where we're not a burden for foreigners and strangers to our own people. When I asked him, did you get used to India? He told me, I don't think I'd ever get used to it. How can I get used to it when I see your mother, who used to have maids, is currently working for continuous hours? How can I get used to it when I see your brother, a 17-year-old brother, who instead of a pen, has a job in hand? I feel like I've failed my responsibility of being a father. What use is of a father who can't provide a home, food, school, or even comfort to his children? In fact, with which hope do I comfort them? In this way, I listened to my mom and my brothers, and then at last, I listened to myself. I realized that the one thing in common between all of us is that we all feel isolated, alienated, and incapacitated. My story is not unique. It is the story of 2.5 million Afghan refugees. Yes, you heard it right, 2.5 million Afghan refugees. It is the story of those 13,000 of them living in your own country, India. When I first entered India, an Indian child called me a bomb. Later that day, another Indian called me illegal. Well, I'm not a bomb, nor am I illegal. If I was a bomb, you would not be here looking at me like this. And if I'm illegal, so are you. Because how can a human being be illegal? I thought of how tragically I'm an unwanted alien in a foreign land, being labeled as bomb or illegal. But you know what's more tragic? It is to see people watching us on their televisions and saying, such a tragedy. This takes me back to the day my neighbor smiled to my mom just as she saw her. Later that day, she knocked our door with a delightful smile, and she brought chai. She said, I'm glad to meet you. The word glad enrooted deep within me. It made me feel accepted for the first and the last time in the past 1 year. For the first and the last time, I did not look at myself as a burden. And for the first and the last time, I felt home. The point is that when people see our situation in media, they wonder and prejudge what they can do for 2.5 million people, not realizing that their single act of kindness is the definition of infinity. Because no matter how small it is, it comforts another human, and that comfort will stay with him forever. Your smile and your single act of kindness can become a fortress for a refugee. It can be a way for them to feel less lonely. It can be an inspiration for them to move on. Therefore, let us embrace and applaud our differences in order to make a world filled with human race instead of being labeled as Indian or Afghan. Let us accept each other, for acceptance is the art of diversity and unity. It is the phenomena which is vital for our existence and progress. Let us all coexist within this shrinking world. Let us all become global citizens, holding each other's hand while moving forward to a better future and leaving a legacy for our future generations. Today, I'll leave you with this thought. Do you think being a refugee is being alien? Do you think being a refugee is being illegal? And do you think being a refugee is a choice. In this world of 7.7 billion people, if everyone does a small act of kindness, I don't think we refugees or anyone else in the world would feel lonely, excommunicated, or isolated anymore. At least give us a second or even a minute to feel home. Last but not least, William Doyle once said, "Smile a while, and while you smile, another smiles. And soon there are miles and miles of smiles, and life is worthwhile because you smile." Thank you.